Hey everybody, welcome to Created by Pink. This series is called The Clubhouse. It's obviously in my house on my lovely pink fluffy chair. And it is where I will be talking about various topics related to teaching, dancing, the industry, and all things kind of under that umbrella. But I'm excited. So let's get into it. So Sabina asked about sharing and explaining the history of the dance style students are learning, but in a fun way. If you are teaching a foundational dance style that maybe you are not a pioneer or creator of, it is imperative that you show and share who those people are, right? So if I'm teaching a combo that has some beat your feet basics in it, baby, I'm going straight to YouTube and finding videos of Crazy Legs and Shells and Queen P. I'm going straight to Beat Your Feet Kings. Like, I'm showing them these clips so that they can see, hear, and feel, most importantly, feel and connect to the people who have created these styles. Um, there's a lot of great documentary footage on Be More Club. Kumari Siraj has a really short, I think it's like 8-minute video on the history of whacking that to me is very kid friendly and holistic. And I love that video because I've been able to show it to all ages and all levels, and it's quick and easy to do at the beginning of a class. They stay engaged. And then you can just flow right into your technical aspects of it. And now they have something to latch onto. So Vimeo, PBS, YouTube, use all the free resources that you can. Now, obviously, Instagram, TikTok. For teenagers, I would advise you to allow them to utilize their own devices to do the research, only because most are not responsible about how they use social media. So it's a nice little sly way to teach them how to do research and find um, credible sources. Sabina also asked about dance related games that you do with students. The first concept I would say about games in general is to not try to reinvent the wheel. Start with classic childhood games that we all know and love, that they know and love and play. Duck, Duck, Goose, freeze dance, musical chairs, right? These are things that they know. Charades, for example, something like charades. This is a little more advanced. I would do this with maybe middle school and up. You could have a basket of little tickets that have names of the foundational groups or techniques that you're working on. So let's say it's house, right? You could have a little piece of paper that says farmers, one that says hacky sacks, one that says skates. So then they pull one out of the basket and now it's charades. There's a team A, team B. Team A has to now guess what their person pulled by what the person executes, right? So it's a fun way to get one person dancing and moving and also team building so that they can work together. Freeze dance is another one. Instead of just having them randomly move, especially really young children, maybe I think under the age of 10, they tend to just run during freeze dance. So instead, I will already have taught them at least 5 basic things that I want them to do during their freeze dance. And they must do a variation of said thing during the freeze dance. So let's say again, if it's house, it's farmers, it's jacks, it's skates, it's hacky sacks, and it's shuffling. So they have to do a variation of those 5 things throughout the freeze dance when the music is playing. But when they freeze, I add another layer. They also must balance on one leg. So now I've added applying technique and creativity in their freestyle and musicality, because they're listening to the music and they must stop when it stops, and agility and coordination. motor skills because they have to balance on one leg, right? So that you've got an educational element, you've got a creativity element, you've got a like physical education element as well. So don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just kind of freak the things that we already know. Lolo asked, what are some tools or creative exercises I can utilize to help make the exploration of a young mover's freestyle more comfortable and fun when they're scared or shy? Okay, your entry point into freestyle for youth is going to be different per the temperature and culture of the space that you're in. This is where things get a little interesting. And I think in the messages, Lolo asked specifically about ages 9 to 15. So that's also like your almost middle school, preteen, teen age. Things, they can start to get very self-conscious, right? We're going through puberty, changes in the body, changes in mood. It's a it's kind of a rough time, like emotionally as well. So patience is key. Do not force it. Okay. So first, group freestyling. Blindfold them. Have them face the wall. Everybody close your eyes, right? Give them space to just be like, okay, nobody's watching me. Nobody's watching me. Everything's fine. I'm safe here. Everything's okay. Give them moments to move freely as a unit. Have them travel around the space. So don't just stand there and look in the mirror, but moving around the space and giving them clear prompts. Move like a feather floating in the air. Move like a book whose pages are turning in the wind. Move like a bowling ball being thrown down an alley, right? Give them things to do and have them do it collectively as a group. They're still freestyling solo, right? Nothing has changed. They just are not in a fishbowl, which can freak people out, right? Also, maybe have them do across the floors on diagonals. So have them start in opposite corners and have the first person, maybe to the right, freestyle down 1, 2, 3, 4. Second person goes 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't feel so lonesome. And then you can gradually increase that as time goes on. Now, there might be eyes on them now. So maybe they feel that pressure, but it still feels like a unison activity. Entry points. How are you introducing it? How are you breaking down those barriers without them even realizing they're being broken down? Sino asked how to keep certain students engaged if it's a dance style they are not strong at or excited about learning. Okay. Being a beginner is hard. Looking like a beginner is harder when you feel like you're being judged or watched. So I would give them lots of affirmations in the space about the benefits of being a beginner and how cool it is that the only way from where they are now is up. I would instill an understanding of good work ethic and practice and just keep encouraging them that like nobody's saying that you have to get this right now. Like that's not the expectation. The expectation is for you to grasp onto as much as you can. A lot of people want to learn fast. People always tell me, I want my pickup to be fast. What? Like you should want your pickup to be accurate. So if that means that you only got the first 2 8 counts and the last 4 aren't really there, but the first 2 are phenomenally executed, that's much better than executing 6 8 counts poorly, right? So explaining to them that accuracy is more important than speed. Being a beginner can be a very, very, very great place to be. Practice makes progress. And it takes work and time and patience. So that's number one. And I think also doubling back on giving them something and someone to connect to. Show them a dancer that they know and love Show them a video of that dancer at their beginning, and then show them a video of that dancer now. That is always humbling and very inspiring, to see the growth and to be like, you know what? If I keep working, I could get there too one day. Okay. Somebody asked about cultivating an engaging and welcoming experience for students who come from different backgrounds or may not fully understand the value of your piece or dance language, taking away the intimidating feeling and helping find beauty in the struggle. Ensuring that the student understands first and foremost what the expectations of the room are. I think in the age of social media, it feels like you have to have it perfect by the end of the class because they're going to film, it's going to be on video, and then you have to post the video. There's so much that goes into it. So knock that barrier down. Teach clearly and appropriately so that the class doesn't feel like a struggle. Like, I think there is a misconception a little bit in certain spaces about what training is supposed to feel like. I think there is an energy sometimes in class where it's like you have to be struggling and straining to like grow, and it's like no, respectfully, it's not necessary. When you think about other exercise modalities such as Pilates, yoga, weightlifting, when you're at the hardest point of the exercise, what do they tell you to do? Breathe. Breathe through it. Relax. Yoga, relax your jaw. Pilates, relax your head, neck, and shoulders. Breathe in and breathe out. Weightlifting, you exhale on the push, right? Breathe. Like, give them space to breathe. If that means more time in the class for them to take time to themselves to organize their thoughts and maneuver through the chaos, right? It's a navigation, it's a discovery, it's exploration, but it can be a challenge, but it shouldn't be a struggle. We shouldn't be straining. And if they are struggling that bad, one of two things: the combo or the things that are being presented are not appropriate for their level, or what's being taught is not being explained well. Because even a person who is a beginner in maybe an intermediate or even an advanced space, if you're teaching the heck out of it, that dancer, even if their body physically cannot execute the movement, mentally, they still should be able to understand exactly what's happening because you, the teacher, should have been able to clearly deliver it in a way that they can be like, you know what? I know what it's supposed to be, but I'm just not there yet. That's not a struggle, even though they're not quite there yet. So I think it's really important to make sure that what we're teaching is appropriate for the age, appropriate for the skill level. And that also is going to transition me into the next question. Kendra asked, how do you teach and enhance all students at once in a varied levels class? So I have a formula. This is what I do. So if I walk into a room and it's an open class, when I do the warm up and the center floor or across the floor progressions, I am reading the room. I'm assessing everybody. I'm looking to see if they have strength, coordination, stability, and balance, especially for heels. I'm looking for musicality skills. I'm looking for confidence. And I want to see that in how they execute the warm up, how they execute in the across the floor. Maybe I'm just doing progressions in the center of the floor. Read the room. If over 70% of your room is advanced, cool, right? Go ahead and teach at that advanced level space. But I would recommend that you do not leave your intermediate dancers in the dust, right? Take moments to be like, Okay, advanced dancers, I know that you probably fine and you got this, but my people who need more help, raise your hand. I'll come to you and I'll work with you on whatever you need, right? Create the space in the class for them to thrive and for them to kind of, again, organize and navigate through maybe the chaos that's kind of going on. If your classroom is more than 50% intermediate, guess what? You need to be teaching at an intermediate pace. Okay, that might mean that maybe you don't make it through the entire combo. And you really, really, really need to know which aspects of the choreography that you brought that day are the most challenging. What are the things that make that combo more advanced than intermediate or more intermediate than beginner, right? Depending on where you're at. And be sure that you go back and you drill those moments. You go back and you truly explain and deep dive in those moments so that the dancers can understand what's happening. It has to be appropriate. And then if you have those other 30% who are advanced, guess what? You go, hey, for my advanced dancers in the room, I know that we have this one move as facing front, but I actually want you to add a turn. Or I actually want you to add some level changes in your freestyle and really push yourself in this way. Give them little nuggets and challenges so that they also don't feel like, oh, this is so easy. I got this. No, it's not going to be a breeze for you too. So yes, that's my formula. That's how I assess the space. And then I kind of judge how I'm going to coordinate and break the class as I go, including the checkpoints that I use for the combo. So if it's an intermediate or beginner class, I probably have 4 or 5 checkpoints because I want to play the music a little bit more often. But if it's an advanced room, I probably have 2 or 3 checkpoints because maybe I want to push their pickup and stamina, right? I want to challenge their brain as if they're preparing to go into a potentially professional rehearsal space or anything of that nature. Kamal asked about basically shifting your lesson plan and your approach to the learning method because some students are just not going to get it. And again, that goes back to reading your room and being able to clearly articulate what's going on. And that requires you to do some pre-work. For real, that's homework for you as the teacher to really assess how you are delivering, demonstrating all of the things. Menelik says, if you're teaching youth on a weekly basis, how do you personally navigate the different moods you might have each class? Yeah, here's the thing. We all have bad days, right? And not just like us, the teachers, but also the students, right? Everybody's coming to class for different reasons. You do need to provide a space of security and safety in your classroom. And it is okay to be vulnerable with the students, no matter what age. Even if they're 6, I might walk into the space because I used to work so long, like so many hours, and then go teach. And some days I'd be like, you guys, Miss Monique has had a pretty rough day. I'm pretty tired. But guess what? We're going to have a good time. We're going to do this together. And you all are going to be so focused and such amazing students that it's just going to be a blast. We're going to breeze right through it and we're going to accomplish all the things that we have set for today. That is so motivating and it connects them to the human self of you as a teacher. You don't just become this like big bad leader in the front of the space. You know, you are also a human being with feelings, a threshold, all the things. And some might test your gangster. They will, especially kids. I'm surprised nobody asked about behavior. I think it's all about the pre-work that you do on your end. You take a breather in the car, meditate, journal, leave it at the door. And if you can't leave it at the door, be honest, right? and allow that to motivate you to change, your attitude and kind of shift gears a bit, because we are a vessel of inspiration. We are role models. It is humbling to know that I have so many of my students watching me near and far for so long now. But I love what I do, and I think all teachers should love what they do if you're going to call yourself a teacher. And we should invest in what we do. We should talk to each other. We should work on our craft every single day. And yeah, that's all I have. That concludes today's Clubhouse episode. I'll see you guys next time.